Hello and welcome to our auction update for Monday, and we're going to have a look at what the activity was over the weekend. Kevin Brogan from CoreLogic will join me in just a moment as we see that both volumes and clearance is up in Canberra. We get a very strong result out of Adelaide. Sydney clears 8 out of 10, and all of the capitals are well up on last year. All the details and a tour around the top sales in all the cap cities with Kevin Brogan in just one moment.
Hi everyone. My name's Nick and I'm the Country Manager here at Beepo. We offer outsourcing services for real estate agencies that are looking to become significantly more productive and efficient. Let me give you a bit of a rundown about how our real estate team actually works. At Beepo, we have many positions to assist our clients in the real estate industry. These include sales assistants, trust account and marketing staff. We also have a couple of our most popular products, the Property Management Assistants and Rock End Property Assistants.
Welcome back once again, and Kevin Brogan from CoreLogic joins us. G'day, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Good, thank you, and getting all ready for the Melbourne Cup tomorrow. I know from our previous conversations that you won't be there, but you're probably like me, you'll be watching with a bit of interest.
Oh, look, there'll be an office sweepstake and I'll certainly be participating. And if there's food in the boardroom, I'll be there. Yes,
indeed. Me too. Yeah. All right, let's have a look at our preliminary weighted average for the country, 73.6%. Sydney at 79.4%. Great result out of Sydney. As I said at the opener there, Kevin, 8 out of 10 selling.
Yeah, look, and that's on increased volumes. I mean, 832 auctions in Sydney this week. So that is an increase of some 60 or so auctions on last week. And to see that continued strength in the market is further encouragement and a demonstration as to the depth of demand that exists.
Even though the numbers were down a lot in Melbourne, we see a clearance rate there of 73.3%, down a little bit on what we're getting used to, but still way ahead of last year, Kevin.
Oh, look, it certainly is. And I have to say, I've had a look at what happened on Saturday in Melbourne. And there really was an issue with participation, clearly with the numbers down. But the clearance rate for Saturday only was about 63.9%. So the figure that we're showing here at 73.3% is for the entire week. So I think not only were vendors not putting their properties on the market, but possibly purchasers as well, finding other things to do with a long weekend.
On Friday, in our report, as we looked ahead at the week, we said then that Brisbane had a good number of auctions and we'd be watching that very carefully. 55.4%, you'd have to say, is a pretty good result for Brisbane.
Oh, look, it is. That's the strongest we've seen for a little while. But as we've mentioned before, the sort of third and entering into the fourth quarters of the year, we have seen stronger results out of Brisbane than in the first half of the year.
A good result out of Adelaide, 64.9%, almost 65%. Good number of auctions too at 142.
Yeah, we saw a sort of significant increase in auction volume from last week. Look, I mean, it was. I went to a couple of auctions in Adelaide on Saturday, and the weather was a bit patchy, I have to say. So quite a good result, all things considered.
Perth at 58.3%. Have a look at Canberra, up on numbers and up on clearance rate. 75% clearance out of Canberra. Good. That's good.
Yes.
And a lot of those have been recorded as well. I noticed there's 63 results in.
Absolutely. Look, I think it's one of those things with capturing data. The mechanics of it are such that, if there is a good result and a strong result, it's actually much easier to obtain that data very quickly than perhaps if you like, negotiations are continuing behind the scenes if the property is passed in. So that's actually double the volume of auctions in Canberra that we saw last weekend. So, fairly significant result.
Indeed, we'll take you to our top sale out of Sydney in just a moment, which comes out of Cremorne and just a touch over $7 million. But before we do, let's have a look at the Sydney sub-region results. Walk us through those, Kevin.
Yeah, look, so that highest result, as you mentioned, comes from the North Sydney and Hornsby region, 87.2%, and that is indeed the highest of the sub-regions for Sydney this week. There are a couple in there. We've mentioned just recently Balcombe Hills and Hawkesbury really sort of finding its way at the top of the league table. Actually, a fairly busy weekend there with 46 auctions and a clearance rate of almost 85%. There's a couple of other sub-regions there with clearance rates above 80%, and there's a solid swathe of them in the 70% range as well. The weakest result actually coming from the Central Coast with only 45% from 30 auctions.
Well, as you mentioned there, Kevin, the top sale coming out of North Sydney and Hornsby, and they recorded 133 auctions there over the weekend. One of them was at 118 Young Street, Cremorne, $7,320,000. Di Jones Neutral Bays, Piers and Georgina selling this for better, 917 square metres. A very nice ultra-contemporary treetop home, absolutely beautiful, faces northeast. And I read too in the description, Kevin, hydroponic in-floor heating and open-air showers.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is a remarkable property. I mean, being in the heart of Cremorne, it's almost 1,000 square metres. And as you pointed out, I mean, there's a swimming pool to go with those open air showers. But it's set in the trees. It's almost like you're in a sort of bush block, miles away from the city, looking out over a reserve with views to Willoughby Bay. Absolutely stunning home, and just absolutely amazing. I mean, the median house price in Cremorne's about 2.25 million. That's down from 2.55 million, down from about 3 million in 2018. But it's one of those areas that is tightly held, with that average ownership being well over 10 years.
Okay, let's have a look at Melbourne now, the sub-regions there. And as we told you, the Melbourne clearance rate, or preliminary, was 73.3%. Top result here coming out of Inner East at 86.7%, Kevin.
Absolutely. I mean, the Inner East has pipped the Outer East to the post this week. I'm going to put in racing analogies from time to time. Outer East still above 80 or at 80%, and the West actually coming out at 81.8%. Fairly strong results across the board in the regions. The one that we've mentioned previously as being just a little bit volatile is the Mornington Peninsula, and that volatility arising out of relatively low numbers, and of course in a weekend that we've seen really impacted by low numbers because of the spring racing carnival. You can see Mornington Peninsula there sitting at the lowest by some margin at 50%, but not too much to worry about, I would say, but that volatility coming into play.
Yeah, you wouldn't measure too much in this last week out of the Melbourne market because, of course, of the Melbourne Cup. But our top sale coming out of Balmain North, 39 Ray Drive, $1,876,000. Buxton selling this one, Simon Louis and William Chen, 4-bedroom. Very well located, this very peaceful location, and a highly sought after area, I've got to say, Balmain North, Kevin.
Oh, look, it certainly is. This is in what's known as the Balmain Gardens estate, and it is, as you pointed out, a very quiet sort of location. This isn't a large block of land; it's 473 square metres, but this property is set in a sort of well-established locality with gardens. The main draw factor, very significant in Melbourne, is the school zones, and this is very very close to Balmain High School, so it's in the zone. It's also opposite a small park as well, so perhaps the small lot size in large measure compensated by sort of access to a quiet open park. Median price 1.66 million. That's down 11% on 2018. So as we've discussed before, some of these high value areas sort of really impacted when there was a bit of a slowdown in the market last year, but now showing that sort of resurgence now that things are picking up a little.
We mentioned at the outset that the Brisbane success rate was 55.4%. However, the top sale in Queensland comes out of the Gold Coast. Let's take you there now to Benoa, 58 to 60 Cabana Boulevard, 2,728,000. Ray White Broadbeach recording this one, Sam and Julia. I've got to say this one, 40-metre main river frontage over 2 lots, Mediterranean inspired. This one never been offered before, and I can imagine they would have been all over this one with that size block of land.
Look, absolutely. I mean, the clearance rate for the Gold Coast is at 35% this week, and we have seen it at fairly low levels, typically in the mid-30s%. But when the right property comes along, we've actually seen some individual results which maybe speak to the strength of demand. As you mentioned, this property was built 27 years ago and has never been offered to the market before. I mean, I have to say, looking at the pictures, this property seems to have been built in a fairly sort of opulent style, with sort of towering ceiling heights in the entrance hall and lobby. It's difficult in Benoa to sort of measure the median house price or to attach too much significance, because there's a lot of property that doesn't get anywhere close to this one in terms of river frontage. So the median is 868,000. That's down about 1.4% on 2018. But as I say, I mean, it's a bit tricky with an area, and we have this with coastal areas as well, where you've got properties where the value is driven so much by their location on the riverfront, as with this one.
We've got 3 more properties to tell you about. After this very short break, we're going to take you to the ACT and have a look at a property in Ainslie that sold for just a touch over $1 million, well, a bit over $1 million anyway. Before I take you to the break, I just want to mention that all of our videos that we show you during our presentation come to us with the compliments of Just Click Videos, and I heard from them during the week that they're now making a special offer. If you'd like to try it free of charge yourself, just go to their website, check it out. It is free for a very limited period of time. You might want to produce a few videos and see how they fly for you. Just Click Videos. Going to come back straight after this break, and we'll take you to the ACT. We've also got to go to South Australia and Western Australia. Back in just a moment.
In today's market, great ideas alone simply aren't enough, but innovative execution can hand you a real competitive advantage. Nightlight is a cutting-edge illuminated signboard by Printforce that offers round-the-clock visibility and features that maximise advertising space, improving your exposure. Buyers can now see the full picture day or night with Nightlight's edge-to-edge illuminated surface, which utilises environmentally friendly, scratch-resistant technology. Now available in 6x4 and 8x4. Nightlight is as versatile as you need to be in today's market. Let your clients know you're working day and night for them, and then prove it with Nightlight.
Welcome back to the show, and joining me, as he does every Monday and every Friday, Kevin Brogan from CoreLogic. Kevin, let's have a look at our top sale out of Canberra. This one is in Ainslie, right on the edge of Mount Ainslie. In fact, $1,290,000. LJ Hooker Dixon selling this property. Stephen Bunday, 4-bedroom, fully renovated, beautifully landscaped gardens, as you can see from the photos here in our Just Click video. Nothing to do with this one, absolutely complete. Just walk in, Kevin. Beautiful property.
Absolutely, and you can walk in from the heart of Canberra. It's only 2 kilometres away. So this is, again, quite a generous sized block for that proximity to the city centre. It's had a huge extension with open plan living areas. It's got polished timber floors to the main lounge, dining and kitchen area. There's a huge entertaining deck which overlooks those gardens that you described. So this is good for entertaining inside and out. Brick built in 1979, so the original, that's the original dwelling, but obviously been extended and renovated to a very high and modern standard. Mm-hmm. Median price in Ainslie, $975,000. That's actually down 9% on 2018. But obviously a property like this bound to sell well with all of those features that we've described, particularly the sort of location.
Okay, our property in South Australia is in Ross Trevor, 8 Radnor Avenue. Hooker's selling this one, Kay Morris and Tim Goo, 5 bedrooms. 4-car accommodation, renovated and extended bungalow, retaining all of the charm and character. Pleased to see that they kept the fireplaces there and all those beautiful LED lights that you expect in South Australia.
Yes, look, I mean, there really is a pattern emerging with the South Australian top sales. This is a property built in about 1900. The bungalow, as you mentioned, those LED lights, fireplaces, solid wooden floors. It really is, fantastic. And the ceiling cornices as well. But then extended, as you see, with that really big open plan, modern area, 400 square meters of living space almost. Medium price in Ross Trevor, again, a little bit of a mix in this suburb, 620,000, but that is up about 9% since 2017. And the significance of that is that in Adelaide, we've described relatively stable market conditions without a lot of capital growth at an aggregated level. But clearly in Ross Trevor, this has got a slightly elevated position as well. This is quite a special property, and obviously in South Australia, that's the type of property that is taken to auction and then does quite well.
And of course, the WA market showing a few signs of recovery and an indication on the last week too at a 58.3% success rate from a limited number of auctions, but still it's great to see. Our top auction sale over the weekend from WA coming from Canberra, 8 Phillips Place. Realmark selling this one for $1,200,000. Jason Jowlett and Nathan Burbridge. 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, separate downstairs theatre and gym. This one, quite an interesting property. I think from reading the description, you could turn that downstairs area either into a granny flat or a home office because it has a separate front entrance, Kevin.
Yes, look, it has been described as having a multiple uses, but I mean clearly it's it's set up as a sort of pool house at the moment. But yes, I mean I think in one of the other properties we saw a drum kit, which of course if your teenager had one of those, this is where you would put them in this house.
You might do a bit of soundproofing though first.
Look, I think so. Look, I mean, this property is about 15 kilometres to the northeast of Perth, 759 square metres. The original house, sort of, again, built in the sort of late 70s, extended and renovated. You can actually glimpse the ocean from the upper floor of this property. It's actually in a fairly elevated position. What's really interesting about this area, Karrinyup, is that we've described Perth as having, in aggregate, a very soft market and sort of continuing to soften. But the median house price in Karrinyup has actually gone up. It's $800,000. That's up 1.3% on last year. But it is worth noting that's down about 6.5% on the 2015 peak.
Okay, well, just to recap for you, our preliminary weighted average for the country, 73.6%, out of Sydney, 79.4%, Melbourne, 73.3%, Brisbane, 55.4%, Adelaide, 64.9%, Perth, 58.3%, and Canberra, quite great result off a good number of auctions, 74.6%. Kevin, thank you for giving us your time, giving us a wonderful insight into what's happened over the last week. And I look forward to catching up with you again on Friday as we have a look at the week ahead. We might see a bit of a resurgence back out of Melbourne. And all the weather predictions for tomorrow look pretty good for Melbourne. A few slight breezes, but it'll be sunny with no rain. So it should be a good day for the Cup, I would think.
Sounds perfect. Good day for an auction too.
It is a good day if you were brave enough to do one in Melbourne. I think you'd have to be brave to do one on Saturday, let alone on Tuesday. But anyway.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Kevin Brogan, thank you, my friend. Have a great week. Good luck tomorrow. I hope things come out well for you at the Cup, and I look forward to talking to you on Friday.
I look forward to working out how we'll spend the winnings.
Indeed. All right, mate. Talk to you soon.
Cheers then.